Welcome to Adulting with Joyce Pring. Watch the full video of this episode on my channel, www.youtube.com/JoycePringTV. And if you want to level up your adulting game, check out joycepring.com/collections for my digital products and courses. Now, as I've mentioned, a lot of our stuff here on Adulting with Joyce Pring is about self-improvement. And so it just goes to show that we have listeners that also love your content and the stuff that you put out. So we have a lot of questions from them, and I want to ask them to you right now. So let's start with this one from Hazel Banluta, who asks, she's my favorite YouTuber for more than 5 years now. Wow.
Aww.
And for my question, what is a realistic dream life? I love that question. Realistic dream life.
Realistic. Okay. I mean, this is so subjective because everybody, I don't know if I can define it clearly because everybody has a different situation. But the way I see creating your dream life is you start with what you're given. And it's true that life is not always fair, right? Some people are handed easier starts than others. And that's something out of our control, but you start with what you're given, your immediate gifts, your talents, your personality, your family, your friends. Everybody has resources. They have something that they start with, and then you kind of build the ideal life from there. And it's hard for me because I don't want to define it beyond that, but I just want to say, whatever you think your dream is, don't settle for less. I always think people, I don't like the word realistic because I'm a dreamer, right? I'm the type of person that I believe you should aim the highest that you can imagine. And even if you fall short of it, you're already amazing because you aim so high, right? If you aim too low and you reach it, then what, right? You don't want to aim too low. So I want to say, dream a little bit bigger. Don't be afraid to have, higher aspirations and also don't get attached to that vision because it's just like a guidepost, right? Like I said, you don't have to really end up there, but at least it takes you along that journey where you're going to end up somewhere beautiful, somewhere amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think you saying that, one, to start with what you're given is the realistic part, which is not everybody's given the most ideal setup, circumstances, and background, but you start with what's given to you, what you already have, and that is realistic, and that's something that you can already improve on and grow upon on. And the second one that you said, which is to dream as big as you can, and even if you fall short of that, then you land on something amazing because you set yourself up for something so high.
Exactly.
I think maybe a lot of us get scared with, being disappointed for not getting to our dream. But I think just being able to achieve something that's close to that is already an achievement in itself. I was actually listening to a podcast recently that said something like, there's a research on children, and when you praise them for intelligence, rather than praising them for effort, they actually perform less. They perform way better when you tell them that they're doing well in their effort, because it's that it's really the effort and working hard and giving your best shot at something that's even more important than your intelligence or how smart you are. So
I love that.
Okay, next question. This is from @FayPauline. She wanted to ask you, what was a lesson that you learned in your 20s that made you prepare better for your 30s? And also, are you going to visit the Philippines?
Oh my God, I've never been to the Philippines, but I've always wanted to go. It looks so beautiful. The beaches look so amazing.
Let's go. We'd love to host you if you ever come here.
So, I would love to. Okay, so lessons that I've learned in my 20s that made me better prepared for my 30s. So one thing that I think is a really big piece of advice, the best advice I've ever gotten in my 20s, was to take the biggest risks while you're young. Because when you're young, you have less to lose. And it's so true. Because when you're out of college, just starting out in life, you don't have kids, a mortgage. You don't really have, you know what I mean? The older you get, the more responsibilities and burdens are put on you. And so when you don't have that, you should take bigger risks because you have nothing to lose, right? If you start from the ground, it's not going to hurt when you fall back to the ground taking a big risk. But if you That's why it's harder for people who, let's say they go into a career, work for 10 to 15 years, and then they quit. That's harder than starting from nothing at all. And you know what I mean? So take bigger risks while you're young. And the key is you're the youngest now than you will ever be in the rest of your life. So
you're
don't
only
be
getting
afraid.
older.
I know. So yeah, don't be afraid to take risks. If there's a dream that you have in your mind that you want to pursue, don't be afraid to go for it. Yeah. So of course, have a plan and do all those things, but don't be afraid, because the longer you wait, the harder it might be.
Yeah. That is something, when you said that, I remember you quoting that from, I think, one of your professors or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I heard you say that, I was like, that's how I've been living my 20s. That's how I lived my 20s. I was like, I am going to try and travel and do risks. I will invest. I will do all of these things while I'm young, because I know that when I get older, and I am constantly getting older by the minute, I need to be more responsible. I have a lot more responsibilities. And you just saying that you are the youngest right now than you'll ever be in your entire life is also a reminder for us that it's never too late to start over and to take risks.
Exactly.
Because if you weren't able to do that in your 20s, in your early 20s, then right now, this moment is a time for you to be able to restart your life and do something that you might be afraid of. And I love this quote from Marie Forleo. She would say, start before you're ready. I love that. Because if you wait till you're ready, you may never get ready. You may never be ready to take those risks in your life. So I absolutely love that. Okay, so many other questions here, but maybe I will go with the last one. This one is from Life is Love. And she asks, when you want to rebrand yourself because life is so messy at the moment, what's the first thing to do? And I guess this alludes to the question of purpose. When you find that life is messy, that you don't really know where you're going, what you're doing, how do you find your purpose? And how do you recreate and reimagine the life that you live?
I love this. Okay, well, you can always reinvent yourself anytime. Like there's no wrong time to reinvent yourself. I love this. I would say the first thing that you can do is, I'm a big fan of like decluttering your things because I had an era
to clear the
in my
mind.
life. Yeah. Yes. I had to get rid of, because it was that book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I basically cleared out like more than half of my things, all my clothes, old books, just old things that were my old self, right? I think I didn't realize it at the time. I just was doing it for the practical reasons. But after doing it, you feel so fresh and you feel like you start off with a clean slate. And it's so you can do this physically and mentally and with your relationships, is to just take a moment to look at every single thing you own, every single thing that's around you, all the people around you, and ask yourself, like, does this spark joy? Do I want this in my life? Does this give value to me now? And if the answer is no, then you can let it go, declutter it, whether it's people that don't bring you, I don't know, that the relationships aren't giving you the value that you would like, or, people change. And also your physical things, like changing up your space, like just anything you can do to release anything that is old to make room for the new, I think is really, it's like an energetic shift that I think is really impactful.
I love that. I think when you were saying that, one of the things that came up in my mind was, before good things can come into your life, new good things can come into your life, you have to make space for it. So that means that before you can receive new blessings in your life, you have to let go of some of the stuff that is taking space in your life. And you're right, that's not just that's not just your clutter or the things that you have physically at home, but also the mental clutter that we don't realize we're bringing up and burdening ourselves with every single day. So
yeah, like if you have a long to-do list, start like deleting things, like maybe I don't want to have this on my list anymore. Like what can you cut out so that you could start fresh? Because ultimately, you are a new version of you, and you can decide what that looks like.
Thank you for that. Okay, well, I I'm enjoying this conversation. We're already way over time, but I wanted to
It didn't feel that long.
Yeah, I know. It's more than 30 minutes already. We usually just have 30-minute episodes, but I feel like we'd love to have you again on the podcast if you're ever game for it. I wanted to ask a final question maybe for the young Eileens out there who are still figuring things out. The young ladies out there who are kind of in the in-betweenish where they feel like they have the courage to try something new, to take on a different path, to pursue their dreams. But they just don't have that push yet or that courage yet to live the life that they love. What would be your encouragement and your advice for them? What would be the starting point in them designing a life that they want to live?
Mm-hmm. I think you can look at it this way. If you truly love yourself, then you want yourself to be happy and you want yourself to just go for it, right? If you were like, just imagine you are your best friend who is your number one supporter, right? If you were talking to yourself, having that conversation, like, oh, I have this dream, but I'm scared. Like that best friend would be like, go for it. I support you. You can do it, right? So you have to be that voice for yourself. And a big part of that journey is learning to truly love yourself, right? When you truly love yourself, you're going to do everything that is going to like serve you the best. So literally put yourself first. Don't be afraid to go after those big dreams. It's all about believing in yourself and loving yourself along the way. You really can't do wrong if you focus on that. Like you're going to make mistakes, but you're going to learn from them. So might as well start now, right? Just like, again, you're the youngest you'll ever be right now. So go ahead and just take those risks.
That's it for this episode of Adulting with Joyce Pring. If you liked this podcast, please don't forget to use the hashtag Adulting with Joyce Pring and also check out www.joycepring.com for the show notes and tag me on social media with you know it at Joyce Pring. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Paalam!